doing fine today. How are you, sir?
Dude, we need to go get some lunch.
I'd love that. That'd be great. Timing is good.
Let's do it next week.
Yeah. By the way, and up front, I'm sure someone else will mention it, but your post last night about your learning experience called "Your Learning Victory," that was well written, very from the heart. That was good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, thank you. And, more transcribed out of anger, I suppose, than anything else. I kind of put on there, man, I'm that kind of guy that doesn't care about winning, but really hate to lose. And in this industry, she emailed me back yesterday. It's all a learning experience, isn't it? It's like, I emailed her back and I said, I would say with a lot of class, I said, I appreciate your decision and your choice, but as a student of my craft, I'm curious to know why, you didn't choose me or you chose someone else. And the response came this morning in that, hey, you were the highest commission. And I go, 5%, that's the highest commission out of the last four, there was 5 of us that they interviewed. And it does show the mindset of some folks, I suppose. But really, the learning curve for me was, man, I really need to focus on, especially right now, going into listing appointments where there's no previous relationship. This was a almost like an online referral system where there's no previous relationship. Really have to focus on the value and share with them. And the second thing was, number one, you were the highest commission, meaning 4 other agents were doing some type of commission structure under 5%. She also asked me to pay for the staging on top of a 1.5% commission, which I wasn't prepared or willing to do. But the second thing that she said was, it seemed like you were too busy. So that was a good learning curve to me too, in being able to tell the story. Really, what I've focused on these listing appointments is telling the story of how we've helped other people. But in this case, understanding that that the secondary reason was that we're too busy. It's like, when you want the best food, do you go to the restaurant that has the most people or the fewest amount of people? It's like when you go to the restaurant that has the fewest amount of people, it's either terrible customer service or terrible food, one or the two. That's why they're not, overflowing with turning tables, if you will. So got to work on adapting those stories and always learning. But I did get 2 of the 3 on Monday. So hell yeah. That's a 66% conversion ratio, which isn't high enough for me, but it's still good enough. What are you guys seeing out there as we're, I know we're in the first 4 minutes here. We got a lot of information to tackle today. I've had some good conversations with many of you guys throughout the week. So appreciate you guys showing up. I know everybody's busy. And anybody have anything they want to share this morning? What you're seeing in the market, what you're experiencing?
Okay. Seems like there's more homes coming on the market. That's a positive.
No kidding. And I'll share with you in the circles of peers, I'm seeing and hearing about a lot of properties that are going to be coming to the market in June and first week of June and second week of June. We've got 6 that are going to be hitting the market, and I'm waiting to hear back from 7 other listings that would launch in June. So, and I'm hearing that amongst other people, both in other folks in the office and just in general. So, hopefully we'll see some more inventory. It'll ease the pain for buyers out there because the demand is still there, no doubt about it.
I'm looking for a referral for Roseville.
Hello.
All right. I'll send them your way, sister.
Come on.
Don't forget him. Pick me.
You got lots
You'll do it for cheaper.
Yeah, do it for cheaper.
Buyer or seller?
Buyer. I'm going to be selling their condo, hopefully. But, he's been out of work. He's a plumber. A commercial plumber, and they've been out of work, she's a nurse, so you know they still got to get their ducks in a row.
Today's Nurses Day, by the way. So
Oh, good to know.
just found that out. Very nice. Yeah, send them over. We're everybody in the Bay Area is moving up this way right now. So
Apparently.
yeah, it's crazy. Okay, we're gonna fire up. We're gonna get started and talk a little bit about the market really quickly. So let's go.
We are staying ever vigilant, looking for signs that this market is too hot or ready to pop. In case you missed it last week, we hosted our webinar, How to Spot a Real Estate Bubble. And in it, we identified 10 signals, indicators to watch to know when to prepare for a bubble bursting. This market is unbelievably hot. It's fueled by ultra cheap money. And 3 of our 10 indicators are in the bubble zone, but only 3. But check out that webinar on our YouTube channel for the full scoop. This is your weekly look at the Altos Research data that came in for the entire US real estate market over the weekend. Home prices keep marching upward. This is normal for this time of year. Expect weekly price increases through the end of June at least. Median home price this week is $395,000 in the US. Next week or the week after, we'll cross 400,000 for the first time ever. Rates are low, and that has been keeping mortgage payments affordable even as the home prices climb rapidly. At these levels, though, that affordability starts to strain. Meanwhile, the price of the new listings cohort, that's the green line here, ticked up to $365,000 this week from $360,000 last week. By May of each year, this measure plateaus, bounces from week to week. So seasonality looks actually good from here. These are subtle signals that the hot market stays hot, but doesn't go even crazier from here. So as we walk the razor's edge, it feels like consumers are behaving much more rationally than they would in pure bubble market times. The speculative behavior of investors and property flippers continues to ease gently back down. The percentage of homes, the percent of homes on the market with price increases ticked down again this week to 6.8%. Fewer people are flipping. This is still really high, of course. You get this behavior in a rapidly appreciating market. Investors, institutions, individuals buying properties and then bringing them back to market fairly quickly at higher prices. This number is declining because investors are competing with well-financed home buyers. And it's such a competitive market, it's harder to speculate in it. So that keeps a lid on some of the craziness that happens in a pure market bubble. Inventory climbed this week by 1%. Yay. It feels like we are finally at that inflection point. While available inventory of unsold homes is 57% fewer than last year at this time, that difference is compressing each week now. So last year, Americans were already buying everything in sight, and inventory was dropping by a couple percent each week. We are not going to get close to normal levels of inventory, probably for several years. But inventory is ticking up, and that is good for all participants in this market. On to our immediate sales watch. These are the homes that are getting listed and taking offers immediately and going into contract in hours or, just a couple of days. This week, immediate sales are up to 26,000, basically 25%, a quarter of all homes that all the new listings are either going sold in an instant, like immediately. We are in, as I mentioned, in peak buying season for the next 6 weeks. So don't expect our immediate sales to back off much in that time, unless we get like a fast spike in mortgage rates. But even if rates spike today, we still have a month of accelerating demand before that weekend. So anyway, if you're looking for a signal of demand backing off, this immediate sales number will be a good one to keep your eye on. And that's why we're reporting it each week. So the July changes in this should be very telling. That's all the time.
Well, can you put some,
as always, subscribe to the YouTube channel for the latest data. If you are a real estate professional and you work with buyers and sellers, especially in this crazy market right now, you've got people worried. You have people worried about timing. Do I act now, faster? Do I wait? The market data is how we help people that are afraid. So I recommend you go to Altos Research right now, altosresearch.com, and book a demo with us so that you can look at the data in your market and understand how to really help people and grow your business in this crazy market. All right, everyone, more next week.
Okay, let's stop the share here. So what are the three, we got a bunch of people on here. I appreciate you guys all taking this hour out, and I want to dive in just a little bit on this because I think it's very important that you know how to narrate these conversations when people are currently asking you what's going on with the market, what are you seeing, advising buyers who are saying, hey, the market's going to take a dump and I'm waiting, I'm sitting on the sidelines. There are three things that he just indicated that he used actually were key indicators of a changing market. Anybody remember what they were?
Well, one of the things that I heard him say was that at the rate that things are going, it's going to take several years for the market to, quote, come back to normal. Yep. And what that tells me is that is a pretty strong insulator of a market crash. Not a guarantee, but it's a pretty strong indicator of a buffer. There's a lot of buffering space for the market to crash because we're so far below the averages year over year for the historical average.
Okay, so the good narrative, the interest, three things. Number one, interest rates. Got to be watching those every day. Number two, unit inventory on the market. Number three, price increases. Those are the three key indicating factors. Anybody ever heard of the language of real estate before? Many of you KW agents probably have, right? So what are those other things, those other statistics, those other numbers, the other quantitative information, quantitative data that you can share with your clients, both buyers and sellers? That looks like list price versus sales price. That's important in coming up with a pricing strategy and also an offer strategy for the buyer. Days on market, the obvious one, price per square foot in that neighborhood, in that zip code, in that county, number of pendings. That's the most important thing that you're looking at right now because that's going to give you an immediate pulse on what's happening in the market. If you're doing a CMA and looking at the comps from behind from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago, you're not adequately pricing, giving the seller a pricing strategy that says, hey, in 2 months, in a month, in 3 weeks, when we get this house on the market, when it's delivered and people can come in and see it, I'm trying to navigate, if you will, trying to pinpoint where I think the market is moving and adjust my pricing strategy accordingly. All of this information helps. Where do I go to get this information, Sean? Well, guess what? NAR has it. CAR has it, your local association has it, Altos Research has it. KB Core has market updates that you should be sending to your clients every 7 days. You should be sending to your sphere of influence and your referral partners every 7 days so that they know that you're up in regards to what's happening in the market. So use those tools, use those sources to get that information out on a routine basis. If you're not creating the narrative once a month to email out through your CRM, hopefully it's KB Core because it's cheap and it's free actually. But you've got to use some other narrative to show the world that you are the market expert. That's what I want you to think. You have now become the market expert, okay? So use the tools and resources. Any other feedback? Interest rates, unit inventory, price increases, list price versus sales price, days on market, price per square foot, number of pendings. And what you can do as you're creating this story at your listing presentation is put all your own language of real estate together so that you have a snapshot of your business. Here's how many homes I've sold last year, 5 years, 10 years. Here's my average list price versus sales price. Here's my average current days on market right now. Let me tell you a little bit about the market. Here's my average price per square foot. Here's the number of pendings that I currently have. Here's the clients that I'm servicing. Put that together as a snapshot for your business. Helps you to tell the story about your current immediate success, and we call that evidence of success. Okay. Any feedback on that?
Sean, one of the biggest things right now is not so much what we can do, but where people are. Our job is to set them up for success by giving them great information so they can make a great decision. If we go back more than 2 weeks, we're too far back. We're ancient history. It no longer counts. We have to tell people where they've been a week ago, where they're going to be in a week. That makes the difference. I mean, they're all saying the same thing. We saw the house across the street. We saw the house around the corner. They all know the prices. They just don't know what's going to happen. And they're all a little concerned about, is this going to go up or is this going to go down? That's where we create our value.
Correct. And last week we talked about the 21 ways to crush the listing presentation. And one of those was leave it all on the table. And what I'm noticing right now is you've got maybe agents who aren't providing the best level of customer service, who aren't also vested enough or have the skill enough to convince the seller to do what's right. Hey, you need to take a big bite off of what you thought you were going to get. Hey, we need to restage this. Hey, we need to take it off the market. They feel like in some ways there's control there. I only say that because there's 2 listing appointments this week that I went on. That was the case. The agent didn't have the cojones, if you will, pardon my impolitically correct terms, but to tell the buyer or to tell the seller what needed to be done there. Hey, we need a huge price reduction, 75 grand. Hey, we need to clean all your shit out and we need to come in and stage it. And that's going to solve the problem. So what I'm conveying to you guys is, as you're out there, leave it all on the table. Be the professional and convince them to do the right thing for them. Okay, following up on that. Good stuff. Okay, let's go into today's lesson. Today's lesson is choosing to be successful. All right, so we're going to make sure we have it up here. Can you all see that? Okay, so let me ask you, we're going to get started here. Got 40 minutes. And I think I'll fill it all up here with some good. Today, we're going to talk about how we measure success, your choice to be successful. And I'm going to give you some tools, tactics, and resources to implement before the end of this conversation. This is a rhetorical question, but what I'm going to ask is permission to coach the 80% of you who haven't decided to be successful yet. Do I have that permission? Okay, great. So, we use the 80-20 rule in everything, and it truly has become this rule that I fall back on. So I'm going to say, hey, we're going to talk to actually the 20% of the people on the call instead of the 80% who go, man, I'm leaving something on the table right now. I'm not giving it my best. And we have to do a couple of things first. We have to define the problem, and we have to understand how we measure success in our industry. So anybody want to share with me, how do you know that, what's the game board for you right now? How do you know that you're successful? And empirically in real estate, there's 3 different ways. Anybody know what number 1 might be? What? No. How can we
Closes,
track
how many
success?
closes you've had?
Okay, there you go. How many closes you have? That's units sold. What else?
How many conversations you had?
Okay, that's a key indicator of getting to the final three. But the second one, if we have units, we have volume, or we have GCI. Those are, at the end of the day, if I hired you as a real estate partner, those are going to be the three things that we would have a conversation about each week. Eileen, how many units did you close this week? What the volume looked like? And what did you rake in as money? Everything else that we do really leads to those three common denominators, if you will. That's how we measure success. And your narrative around your own success has to be defined by one of those. Meaning at the beginning of this year, you said, hey, I need to make X amount of dollars. Or if your survival number has been hit and you're a top producing agent out there, you go, man, I really want to do X amount of volume, or I want to do X amount of units, 60 units, 80 units, 100 units, whatever that means. Okay, so that's how we measure success. Number one, we're going to circle back at the end of this, and I'm going to ask everybody to grab a piece of paper over the next half an hour sometime, so that you're prepared to take the 20-question test at the end of the day. But number two, I want you to think as we're diving into some of these topics, many of you aren't using lead trackers. Many of you aren't using greatness trackers, and many of you aren't using the tool of the 5-5-1-1-1, 5 new contacts, 5 follow-ups, 1 appointment set, 1 addition to the KV core, 1 thank you card set, and 1 appointment set for the next week. Super simple. Okay, these are tactics and tools that need to be used, just like if you're a contractor and you went to work every day and you're using drills and hammers and whatever. These are the tools that will create a business for you. So if you're not using them, self-awareness immediately. I've got to get that lead tracker. Why? Because the lead tracker is going to be the tool that you use to ensure that you hit each contact, each lead that's coming into your business, each lead that you bring into your business, making sure that you're hitting them the 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 times that they need to be hit, so that you can add value and ultimately end up converting them. Okay, so we're going to sweep back around to the text. Here are some of the definitions in real estate, some of the tactics, if you will, for choosing to be successful. There's really 17 that I came up with as I was preparing for this conversation. And one of them's habits and mindset and organization and focus on the green, meaning money-making activities and building relationships. Really, we have been tricked, and I'm going to use that word, tricked, by the industry to do things for broker owners, for franchise owners, for other companies that don't build relationships long-term for us. And I wish that somebody, when I got into this industry, would have said, Sean, don't focus on all that other shit that doesn't make you money. Focus on going out there and building key relationships, building 10, 20, 30 relationships over a lifetime. And that's what at the beginning of the year, we were talking about the one thing that we're going to do differently this year from everybody else, and that we're really going to focus on is going out there and building the relationship. And so I'll ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, since the beginning of the year, many of you have been here. How are you doing on that? Have you identified those 30 whales? Have you gone out and sought an appointment with them? Have you put them on that appointment bridge? Because they're the ones that are going to change your life. It's not the expired listing calls and the for sale by owner calls and the door knockings and the farmings that are really going to level up your business. I'm talking about something that can take you, if you're a car person, from 3,000 RPMs to 7,000 RPMs overnight. That's a relationship. That's not a system, guys. I'm going to say that again. That's a relationship, not a system. So get those lists together, get organized, and understand who you're going after. We've got to be growth minded and willing to learn. I see this in a lot of top producing agents. They're closed off. They're not willing to learn. And guess what happens to their business? It plateaus. It softens. It's an indicator. Their levels of success are indicated how the market is moving, meaning when the market's up, they're up. When the market's down, they're down. They're not in control of their business because they're not continuously growing. Okay, look at other businesses that adapt to a changing environment. Okay. Who knows Legos? Lego toys. Okay. 30 years ago, there was no Lego video games. There was no Lego movies. There was no licensing, meaning you couldn't buy a Star Wars Lego set or a Disney Lego set. Okay. What they've done is they've adopted a new business model based on technology. Now you know where they make most of their money from? Video games and movies, not necessarily for toy sales. So you have to think about yourself in that same way. What am I learning? How am I growing? Who am I coaching with that's going to level up my business, that's going to double my business? I'm not taught. Choosing to be successful says you are growing 20% year over year. That long term is choosing to be successful. And to do that, you have to implement some of these elements that we're talking about today. So we're growth minded, we're willing to learn, we're moving the ball forward, we're adopting leverage in our business. Leverage meaning systems, meaning a transaction coordinator, meaning your time on target is best spent in going out and building relationships. And I want you to think for the rest of the year, instead of having the negative connotation of I'm lead generating, I'm prospecting, I want you to think about it differently. I want you to think about I'm building relationships. I'm pouring value into other people. Because that's the true mindset for tricking yourself into going out and getting into action every day. So we're tracking our numbers. We're open to change. We know our market data. We really try on Wednesdays to give you a full market update in regards to what's happening. But my expectation is that after these calls, you're going back to your database and social media and you're creating the narrative around what's happening in your market. We're focusing on our weaknesses, right? How many of you guys are athletes? It's like what do you focus on the court? What do you practice? You practice as you fight, right? Meaning we're gonna give it all on the practice field, so that when we get on the real field, man, we know what our weaknesses are. We understand different personality types. We know our value, and there's an old saying, when there's no value, price becomes the objection. Understand, I want you to understand for the rest of this year and for the rest of your business, this is an intervention. Understand you're running a business. This is not about a single sale. This is not about trapping a client into your into your sales world. This is about you structuring and building a business of pyramids. Number 6, accountability. Without accountability, you're lost, because I'm giving you information here. Just like I would give an alcoholic information if they came to an AA meeting saying what's going to destroy your body, or a failed marriage at a divorce counseling saying here's some tactics and techniques that you could use to strengthen your marriage. It's not about the information. It's about the action and the accountability. And then ultimately there's practice scripting. Okay. And you got to get damn mad, some of you, to go back and reinvent and re-practice your script, because scripting is changing as the consumer world is developing, and everybody is trying to get a piece of the real estate puzzle. Would you agree? Yeah. So we've got to be on our game at all times. Practice scripting means if you knew you had a play to go to, if you were an actor and you had a play to go to every Saturday, wouldn't you be practicing on Thursday or Friday before wouldn't you give it a little bit of a dress rehearsal before you stepped on the stage? Hell yeah, you would. But many of you aren't practicing these techniques and tactics, and you don't have your scripting down when you're going to these meetings. I want that to change. So these are some elements of choosing to be successful. We also have talked about, many of you know these things. I'm not going to dive really deep in them, but there's on top of just the selling of real estate and the prospecting and the customer support. And I'm still a big advocate of the MREA. I'm still a big advocate of Keller Williams teaching. And I always go back to these 6 things because they do hold true in top producers. This depends on how you package them up. But number 1, you got to commit to self-mastery. This is like, many of you, if I related this to karate, many of you got your license and you stopped at a red belt. Does that resonate with anybody? You stopped at a red belt. You stop moving up. You start practicing and putting the hard work in. and a striving to master, to get to that black belt. Number two, we commit to the 80-20 principle, meaning what? 20% of the activities that you do contribute to 80% of the revenue that you're going to bring in. And most of the time, we're spending 80% of our time on the non-revenue generating tasks, techniques, and drama. There's this thing called moving from E to P, and it's entrepreneurial to purposeful. And very simply put, it means based on your education, based on your past experiences and what you've learned, there will be a ceiling of achievement for you. What are you going to do to break through that ceiling? It's adding another lead level. It's adding a coach. It's adding leverage. It's personal growth. And most of the time, I want to go back there and say, to personal growth and say, your business will grow to the extent that you grow. If you're not reading, the average person after college reads 1 book a year. How about that for programming, America? Right? One of the topics, I'm just going to hit it right here because this is talking about going to E to P. What are we taught? We're taught, oh, you go to high school, go get a college degree and get a job, have a couple kids, that's it. We stop learning at the age of 24. Most of us are going to live till for the next 60 years. Okay, so we've got to get this negative programming out of us and say, no, every year, what are we learning? How are we getting better? How are we managing our money better? Do we need to learn about the stock market a little bit more? Can we practice scripting? Can we practice behavioral? What book am I going to read? I'll tell you, I just went back and I thought, man, this real estate business is going to be tough coming these next 5 years. We've got so many tech people making the move. You know what I'm reading? I just bought it at Barnes and Nobles the other day. The Art of War. I'm like, man, I need some other tactics and techniques and ideas and thought processes to get me to this next level. You have to do it. You have to do it. So many people in this industry, when I'm coaching, when I was a team leader, man, they're on cruise control. Cruise control ain't getting you nowhere. You gotta challenge yourself, because I always say, if you haven't challenged yourself and you're operating at a potential that's less than what you know you can, it's going to equal guilt. Stop being guilty. Stop being guilty. So number 4, make being learning-based the foundation of your action plan. Learning-based is everything. So I will say, as things are opening back up, go to Tony Robbins in August. Go to some of these other local mindset events. What are you reading? What are you watching? Who's your coach? We've got to up our game to compete. Removing those limiting beliefs, you are successful. And you have to understand we're going to fail, right? We're going to fail. The faster we fail versus our competition is going to get us failing forward and moving and continuing to push the ball or the can down the road. And number 6, we're accountable for everything. Instead of we used to talk about it being victim versus being accountable. And there's no room for victim mode in this industry. And this was part of the post last night. It's like, shit, instead of saying, man, that's terrible. I lost a listing to somebody who's going to give them 1.5%. I go back to the record, go back to the table and say, dude, how can I show more value? Because that's the only way that I can counter a lower commission base. So we're accountable to our actions. Everything happens because of us, not to us. Everything happens because of the actions that you're putting out into the world.
Hey, Sean.
Yeah.
One of the questions, when you went back to the learning thing, a lot of people in our industry are a little bit more S's and C's, and they want to kind of hold back. I loved what Keller said about learn to earn. The best way to describe it is like when you're in the batter's box and a pitch comes through, you step out of the batter's box, you refocus, but you're learning to earn because your whole goal is to hit the ball. Right. So when you learn to earn, it's a big difference than learning just to learn. That base is a launching pad, not a landing pad.
Launching pad, you're right. Yep, I love it, Rich. Thanks, man. Thanks for sharing that. Good stuff. All right, so here's where we go. This is about choosing to be successful. Did you know being successful is a choice? Right? It's a choice. There's no silver bullet here. People who, so look in the past of people that have been successful in this industry, in high school and college sports, in the careers. Some of you know just meeting people that you have, maybe you haven't met before, you go, man, that person, or recruiting somebody into your business, or maybe you've been managers in the past and you look at somebody and they just have this energy, an aura, a stigma, if you will, and you go, man, they're going to be successful. It's because they've made a choice at some point to be that person. So what we're going to talk about a little bit today is mindset versus tactical coaching. And I'm going to talk about both as we move along. So if I asked you today, if we were at a seminar and I said, you know, we've got whatever, 20, 30 people on this call. And I said, okay, raise your hand if everybody wants to be successful and you want to make a lot of money. How many people would raise their hand?
Everyone.
Everybody, right? So what's the connective tissue that dies between everybody raising their hand and going, hey, I want to be successful, and them actually achieving that level of success, whatever it is that they've conjured up in their mind success look like? It's typically because when it comes to action, people fail. And this will be evidenced, guys. This will be evidenced. Eileen mentioned it earlier, the number of calls you make, or how many people you're meeting with, or all those things. Your ability to want to be successful can be evidenced in the actions that you take. Think about that for a minute, okay? So everybody wants to be successful, but not everybody goes out there and takes action. And this is why people ultimately fail. You go to a seminar and you go, wow, I feel great, man. I'm inspired. I got this energy. And you come back and what do? Nothing. So we're going to talk as we move through the day. Why is that? Why don't we take action? And then ultimately, how do you make the leaps when you've plateaued? This is the E to P. How do we overcome that typical programming of our life that tells us after 20, 24, and we've got our degree, we should just be content for the rest of our life and, you know, buy the house, raise the kids, and move off into retirement. Is that really success?
No.
Have you ever thought about that really quick? Have you ever thought about, wow, what does it really look like for me to be successful post my first century on this planet? One of the things for me that I'll tell you with right now that I didn't ever give myself permission to fail. When I was growing up, it's don't fail, man, don't do that. You'll fail. That was the programming that my parents gave me. I had to really work hard to overcome that. Now I don't care about failing. I'm like, I'm failing forward. It's not a bad thing for me to fail. I've turned the tide on my head, on my internal programming. So how do we overcome that typical programming in life? All of which we're gonna cover over the next few minutes. Okay, clarity. So you look at other people, and I'm just gonna go into the real estate world here. Is everybody in the real estate world super bright?
Nope.
Are they super talented?
Nope.
Are they intense typically?
Nope.
Sometimes they are.
Sometimes.
A lot of them are intense. Are they hardworking?
Not
Usually.
always.
Are they dedicated? Do they have a plan and follow it? And number 6 is probably the most important, okay, for everybody. Because whether you're an S out there and you're checking those box off for everything that you do, or a D and you go, man, I don't want to be narrowed down by that box checking shit. I want my freedom. There's intrinsically a plan that goes into your head that says, here's what I have to do every day. D's are typically, even though they're crazy, they're disciplined. In some fashion, they have their own internal discipline that works. S's need the checkbox, but there's a plan. Both of them have in their own way a plan that they follow to be successful. Okay, I'm going to go back and I'm going to ask you this question. NAR came out with the statistics. 87, I'm just going to tell you, we have an 87% mortality rate in our business for agents who join after 4 years, meaning only 13% of agents will be in this industry in the next 4 years. Let that sink in. 87% death rate for agents' business over 4 years. They're not following a plan. Are you following a plan currently? That's what I got to ask. This is about you committing to be successful. You have to follow a plan to get there. There's that tactics. There's the tactics that we look back and we model off of other people, and we say, if I want to be successful, I have to do these things routinely. Okay. So clarity.
Sean,
Yes.
one of the things that happens is people don't follow a plan. They normally follow a person and a model. Like having you here has been one of the great things, because we have an area, we have a person we can follow, we have somebody we can structure ourselves with. But people follow people, they don't follow a plan. Then they make a plan because they see how other people do it. Success breeds success.
Perfect. You're right. You're right. So you still, whether you're following the person or you're following a tactic or a system or whatever it is, there has to be something routine and disciplined and intense and hardworking and dedicated about you as an agent. You don't have to be the brightest person in the world. You don't have to be the most talented. We always used to say time on target is more important than anything else. So is your time targeted on these things, on the 20% of routine activities that make the 80% of your money? That's the goal here. C, relationships. How many do you have? What do you do? What do you do to connect with those people, to have fun with those people, to add value to those people, to let those people know that you care about them? And are you really focused on diving deep, or are you more focused on just a really superficial relationship? The deeper you go, the more referrals you're going to get. And again, we're going to be focusing on relationships for some tactics and maneuvering your business forward. So here we go. Clarity. This choice to be successful, it's an emotional decision and a choice for you. It's therapy, it's mindset, and you have to choose right now to be willing to fail. Okay? So here's what you have to say. I'm going to do X, come hell or high water, and I'm willing to sacrifice experience. I'm willing to sacrifice and experience a level of uncomfortableness to learn and overcome my programming. Wow. We're going to talk about fear in a moment. We've got to overcome that program, and we got to say we do what we need to do to win. At the end of the month, if your survival number is, I got to make $10,000 a month to win, and you get to day 25 of 30 and you haven't made that $10,000, what the hell do you do? It better be a point where you say, all hands on deck. Dude, husband, wife, I need to take tomorrow off. You call grandma and get her over here, because I need to pound the phones for the next 8 hours. That's the intensity of which you have to operate on, because comfortableness, many of us are comfortable. And I have this in a minute, but I'm just going to talk about it now. Many of us are comfortable, and comfortableness is the enemy of success. And even when you talk to top producing agents, and I've been part of masterminds before where they go, okay, well, when do you let off the pedal? And it's about $10 million worth of volume and about $250,000 worth of professional fees. Everybody lets off the gas. For some of you, it's less because you have a lower financial thermostat. Some of you have started this call today or started this year going, man, I'm only worth X amount of dollars. Or I can't make more than X amount of dollars because my financial programming won't allow me to think that high. That's all a mindset. Okay? That's a mindset. Look at your past programming, choose to overcome it. Here we go. Here's why, guys. We humans, this is by Jennifer Hawthorne, who's a psychologist, studies done at Harvard. We humans, it seems, have anywhere from 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts per day. According to some research, as many as 98% of them are exactly the same that we had the day before, because we're creatures of habit. And more significantly, 80% of those thoughts are negative. Wow. That means 4 in 5 thoughts that go through your head every day are negative. If you didn't know this, you've heard people who talk about what they do. What do you do in the mornings? The mindset stuff. You know, what are they? It's affirmative. What?
Affirmations.
Yeah, affirmations. We're doing affirmations. We're talking to ourselves. So when you go and pick up that phone call, your brain is telling you what? Don't do it, man. They're going to be negative reaction on the other end. They're going to like come through the phone and kill me, man. And I'm going to die. And then my family will be left alone. And that's the way your freaking mind thinks. Instead of coming from this abundance and saying, oh, okay, I'm just going to add value here. And we're going to see if we can come up with a cool relationship that fits both of us. But understand, 60,000 thoughts a day, up to 60,000 thoughts a day, 80% of those thoughts are negative. By quick math, that's like 50,000 negative thoughts that go through your mind every day. So you got to change. You got to make the calls. You got to make the effort. You got to get energized to win. Be doing the lead tracker. Complete your greatness tracker every week. Have great conversations. Sell half the time of the time that you're committing to your business. If you're working an 80-hour week, at least 40 hours of those need to be 80-hour week. 40 of those need to be prospecting, lead generating, influencing, persuading people, meeting with people, building our relationships, building our database, because that's the only thing that matters long term. And sir, nobody cares how you write the contract, dude. Right? I mean, really, they don't. And if you had enough people in your database and enough people that you're doing business with, you could afford to write 1 out of 5 bad contracts and still put 4 others in escrow. So it becomes a numbers and a sales game and a relationship game.
Right. Johnny, the other thing with that, there are so many people out there that are not getting what we're getting right now. I mean, the positive feedback, the collaboration, the things that we have right here, we can fix things with an addendum. Throw it over, just get it in contract. We can fix it with an addendum. But the thing is, there's so many people out there that need our assistance. They need somebody positive. They need somebody to come in and just say, hey, we got this. Let's do this. Because you walk with them, they'll actually do more than anybody else. And if you don't do that, somebody else who's lesser than, somebody that doesn't have their best interest in mind, is going to step into the void. And your friends are going to get hurt. So you might as well reach out and touch them.
Well said. Well said. So, are we clear? We know we've got these negative things going in our mind. We've talked about the tactics of what choosing to be successful looks like. We've talked about past programming, and now I'm going to give you a simple plan. If you had 10 referral partners in the financial world that were giving you only 2 deals a year, that'd be 20 deals. That's the importance of focusing on going deep with these relationships. People ask me all the time, Sean, it's kind of like Undercover Billionaire, right? With Grant Cardone. You've seen that. He goes into the town, he's broke, and he's fucking building this, whatever. He's bringing revenue in. If you ask me, dude, what would you do to start your business out if I dropped you in Houston, Texas? I would say I'm going to go meet with 100 referral partners over the next week. I'm going to bring value to them. I'm asking you to, over the next year, over the next 12 months, over the next 6 months. And by the way, the quickness at which you implement, the speed at which you implement, let me say that, will equal your success. So don't take a year. Take a month and go meet with 100 referral partners. They want to talk to you now. You can get market share from these people because nobody else is calling them. Why aren't you calling them? Fear. Okay, and I'm going to talk about that on the next slide. But I'm asking you, simple plan. Sean, how do I be successful? Go out, find 10 referral partners, get into relationship with them, take them golfing, take them to breakfast, take them out to eat, understand their family, add value to their business, their family, their staff, their sales team, and ask them, what does it take for me to get 100% of your real estate related referrals? How do I do that? Go deep with them, right? It says, tell them. You're not telling them that you want to be their realtor. You know how? Because you know why I know that? Because I work with a lot of independent people in the financial world, and nobody says to me, Sean, I want to be your financial planner. I want to be your CPA. I want to be your insurance guy. Nobody says that to me. You have to go out and take control of your business. Number 2, Spencer, Give me a deal. Let me show you how I take care of you. Number 3, instead of asking for referral, you ask them, how can I get more opportunities so I can make you more money? See how I've switched that conversation around? Angela, how are you going to give me more referrals so I can make you more money? What do I got to do? Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? It's a different conversation. It's a different wavelength of asking for the business. We're not getting into face-to-face with these people enough, okay? June 15th, we're coming back live. Get out of the COVID mindset. Accountability versus victim. We're going to be accountable for the rest of our year. And how are we going to do that? You got to have a monthly mixer with your people, both with your database and with your referral partners. This is how you're going to continue to go deep. You're going to get these relationships going. You're going to get a lender or a home warranty. I don't give a shit who you get to help sponsor these events, to take a little bit of the red out of your pocketbook and have them help sponsor this stuff and get in connection with these people. This is your opportunity over the next 15 months, 18 months, maximum 2 years to go out and gain market share. You have to choose to do it right now. You have to get damn mad about it, and you have to say, I deserve it. And you got to believe in that. Other things. Gifts. You can call these people and go, hey, man, I was just wondering, I'm going to be in the area next week and I've missed you. Man, can I stop by and do a little mini coaching for your staff and your sales team? Hey, I noticed that your marketing, you don't have a Facebook webpage. Hey, can I stop by and, I'm going to bring my Facebook guru with me and we're going to get your Facebook page set up. That's how you add value. So this, in addition, you can do a learning event. There's a meal, there's a break bread. There's the importance of breaking bread with somebody. And to get them to this learning event is an email blast and a phone call and an RSVP list and a top 25 and an email campaign and a video campaign, and you get people there. This is the best way for you guys to see many people and to leverage your time to do that. So you can invite your 10 referral partners and your top 25 clients and get them all under one roof, introduce everybody, and fellowship. Okay, next. We've got a couple more plans. Go deep, we talked about that. So simple plan 2, in addition to the 10 referral partners who you go, Eileen, I need at least 2 deals from you every year. 20 deals. We've got a top 25 program who you're calling top 6 each week, talking about their family, occupation, recreation, dream. Out of these people, they're all in a birthday program. These are the people that you're inviting to your happy hour. You've got a database of at least 400 and you're mailing. If you cannot afford to mail, these need to be in your KB core and you need to be emailing them at least once a month, and they all need to be on market update campaigns so that your branding is being imprinted on their mind. Call, and through those 400, you're calling the letter of the week through the database, checking in on them, not selling them, but asking them, hey, what do you need from me? What can I do? What do you want to know about the market? What's next for you? What's next for your real estate? When are you thinking about selling? What's relocation? What does retirement look like? Has anybody asked you guys, what does retirement look like for you? Ever? Is that an important question to ask people that you want to get in a relationship with? What if I could help you? Hey man, retirement looks, I need to do $10 million worth more. I need to save $2 million. What if we can collaboratively work together to work on that financial plan so that you can retire? We have been duped by our industry to being on the phone and calling frickin' expired listings and FSBOs and working on the single transaction because the rest of these jackass brokers don't want us to build a business. You have to build a business. The way you build a business is through relationships. The way you get those relationships is by showing value, care, and going deep. This is not rocket science, is it? You guys have heard all this before, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so then we go back and we talk about the action. Then why aren't we taking action, right? So here we go. Why aren't we taking action? You haven't decided emotionally yet that being great is who you want to be, that being great is okay. You haven't given yourself permission to be great yet. And today I'm giving you that permission. Most of us, including top salespeople everywhere, we're committed more to being afraid than being successful. And so I'm going to share it again. It's okay to be great. Many of us, our fear is consuming us. So I ask you, what are you afraid of? We got to stop sitting on the sidelines. The fear is consuming us. And you got to ask yourself right now, how big do you want to go in life? What does it look like when it's done? What does it look like when you do retire, guys? You got the big house, you got the car, you got the boat, you got the freedom. It's your definition of what that looks like, but how big are you going to go? So we've got two things. We got the fear, being a failure, not being liked, being embarrassed, trying and failing. Nobody's listening to me. They don't believe in what I say. I'm not good enough for whatever it is. And in our industry, we have to overcome the thought process from our consumer that we're all trying to scam and sell them and all this other stuff. But I'll ask you this. You may have made 1,000 phone calls in your career. How many of those really were truly uncomfortable where they said, I hate you, don't call me, F off, whatever? I'm going to guess it's less than 5% of those 1,000 calls. And so our mind is focused on this 5% of negative instead of really going out and serving those other 95% that want to talk to us, that need help, that are reaching out, if you will. And again, I talked about this earlier, but comfort is killing us. Comfort is killing our drive. Your ability to go to sleep every night, you'll find in top producers, they have a chip on their shoulder most of the time. Successful people have a chip on their shoulder. They go, man, I've been there. I don't want to go back. So the comfort, you have to understand the ability for you to buy filet mignon and barbecue it on the weekend and sleep under a beautiful house on a roof. That's killing you. You have to understand that. That is pushing the pedal. You're taking your gas or your foot off the pedal. So, and some of you are on the other spectrum where you go, man, I'm broke. I'm scared. Okay. And so moving right along. So if you took your left hand and if you guys want to go along with this, we're going to run about 5 minutes over today. But if you took your left hand and you said, man, and I closed my eyes and I said, this has my biggest fear in it. And this is foreclosures and repossessions, and the spouse is going to leave me because we have no money and no groceries, and we're pawning shit at the pawn store. And on this hand, we've got 100 people that they say, I don't like you. I don't want to do business with you. I hate you. Which do you choose? Most of you, hopefully, will choose the right hand over the left hand. Of saying, man, I don't care what you say, man. One of the best stories that his guy's name is Dave. I can't remember his last name. If you get, it'll probably come to me. But he was a KW agent. Basically, through the .com boom, he lost everything. Lost his house. Had 4 kids. Many of you probably have heard this story before. Dave Norad, something like this. Anyway, .com, he loses everything. They're living in his car. 4 kids in a car, homeless shelters, showers, getting the kids to school every day. And he goes, man, I'm gonna get my real estate license. His first freaking year in real estate, he made $350,000 off of calling expired listings. That's choosing to be successful. His kids, by the way, all went to Ivy League colleges. Okay? Get out of your own head and let's do this. Let's run together. You guys have all the support you need. You guys have all the tools and resources you need. You got to get out of your own way and make it happen. All of you are talented and you have drive. And I know each and every one of you. Well, most of you, unless you're a guest on here. And if not, I want to get to know you. But which will you choose, guys? Making money is tactical. Deciding to make money is emotional. Be real and show your clients pain, and they'll appreciate, they'll empathize and sympathize with you. And the bottom line is here, we talk about like the 5-5-1-1-1 and all these other tactics. I'm going to tell you this right now. Talking to 5 people is not going to make you successful. You need to talk to 40 people a day, 50 people a day, 60 people a day. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to say, Rich, you're going to have a pipeline that throws up on you, right? That's the importance of it. So if you're out there today and you don't have a plan and you go, man, I don't know who, it's time. It's time you choose and say, I deserve this. I need to get organized. I'm going to take a day off this weekend and put all this shit together. But you need to be talking to 40, 50, 60 people on average every week for the rest of your life. And that's never going to change. All right. So 5 reasons. I want you to think of this as we're going through this exercise and understanding you're choosing to be successful and why people want to do business with you. But it's this 5 reasons that people should do business with me. What are they? Take a minute and think about it. I'm great with money. I'm a wonderful educator or a teacher. I understand the market. I'm a great negotiator. My connections with other people in the marketplace. Whatever those are, whatever those characteristics that you have, not only from real estate, but from a previous career or, rich, like family counselor and pastor and whatever you have, you bring those to the table and say, these are why you want to do business with me, because you're showing yourself your own value. Many of you haven't done this exercise before. But you have so much talent outside of just real estate that you can bring to your clients. This is what real estate is about. Acquiring business. Where's it coming from? Catering to those clients and counting the money. Everything else is subservient. Where's the client coming from? How am I taking care of them? And I'm going to make money. So we've got to decide right now to get mad, get sick. Get mad, get sick and tired of struggling. Desire the change. Understand you deserve it. Things can change. Today is the day that I'm giving you authority to go out and be successful. So here we go, wrapping up. This is a choice. I'm going to make a lot of money. I'm going to earn the right to make a lot of money. I'm going to go out and build relationships. However, guys, you got to do the work. There's no silver bullet. There's no Zillow leads paying for these that you're going to just become awesome by getting Zillow leads. You're not going to double your business by getting Zillow leads. And we've got to overcome our sales fear overall. And wrapping it up a couple minutes late, today's decisions. We've got to rise above the fear. We've got to beat the fear. We've got to trick the fear. We've got to make the decisions that say the following. I deserve it. I'm going to make a lot of money. With that money, I'm going to take care of my family. I'm going to leave a legacy. I'm going to fund the grandkids. I'm going to fund the family for the next 2 generations. I'm going to get the big house because I deserve it. I'm going to provide security to my family. And most of all, freedom, because I'm going to be set for life by the activities and the actions and the choice to be successful. And ultimately, that wraps around with prospecting more. We're going to replace prospecting with building more relationships. All right. Okay. Boom. That's what I got. Okay. Any ahas?
Thank you for being so inspiring. I'm so inspired. I have all my list of things I'm doing, and thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for all the energy, Sean, always. And then I just briefly wanted to share that one of the most uncomfortable conversations I had was with the auditor gentleman from Colorado, who obviously is now teaming up on a listing with yourself and myself right now from out of state. And so getting out of your comfort zone, everything you're talking about, those conversations and making those connections.
I love it. I love it. It gets easier, it certainly does, but we've got to get out of that shell and we've got to understand this is about your family. This is about your big why. Like, I know that's cliche to say it, but really that's where you tap into this and go, man, I do deserve it. Don't you guys all deserve the big house that you've always wanted? You just forgot along the way that you can win. Many of us have. The world is 80,000, you're having 50,000 negative thoughts go through your head every day. You can win. You can have everything you want in this business. There's no doubt about it. But the fear has to be gone. And guess what? Growth solves all problems. You guys have heard that before, right? You get 20 listings. Guess what? The systems change. You get leverage. Things happen. So don't be afraid. Fear. Don't be afraid of the unexpected. Don't be afraid of going out there and winning too much. I know that's kind of a weird term, but anyway, I love you guys. I appreciate these Wednesdays because you give me time to do a lot of self-reflection in the mornings as I'm preparing for these calls. And I'll share with you, I probably learn more from teaching than anything. So I appreciate you guys tuning in and having.
I'll talk to you later then.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank
Good
you.
stuff.
All right. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
See you later.
Thanks so much.